What's up, everybody? Mike North here for NorthToNorth.com with my old buddy Dan Jiggets. We are at Carmichael's Restaurant right here on Monroe Street. And let me tell you something. They got the whole block. They got great steaks. They got great chops. They got a mean rack of lamb, ladies and gentlemen. And Jigs, it's good to see you again, my friend. What's happening, my friend?
Well, you know what? I'm just kind of chilling until football season starts, Mike, for real. I mean, the preseason games, you know, it's one thing, but the regular seasons, we all know that's when everybody lives for.
Yeah, now you'll be on Comcast this year, and you know what? You're going to be doing a lot of the Bear coverage, and you know what? I don't know how to read this team anymore. I just think that Lovie Smith really won my respect. I wasn't a fan early. He has shed the Ditka thing once and for all. Nobody was able to do that. I think he's done that, and I just trust the guy. I think it's going to be all right.
Well, you know, I think one of the things that Chicago fans had a problem with early on was his demeanor.
Right.
His demeanor is very different than what, you know, Chicago fans have been expecting out of the head coach of the Bears.
Even Wannstedt seemed excitable compared to him.
Right. And that in part has been a little bit of a problem with fans, but. If you look at the football team, which you know he's really here, that's what he's hired to do is coach the football team. I think it's played very well. Now, I will tell you though, the guys like him normally are very different when they get behind closed doors, and you know you can scream and holler a lot at teams, and sometimes after a while it just goes over their head. When he has something to say, he's not there just wasting his breath. Guys understand exactly what it means. And when he tells you he's disappointed in something, it means something. It means you better turn it around or somebody else is going to be in your spot.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. I mean, because his demeanor gets questioned when they're 5-11.
Right.
When he's 11-5.
Oh, same thing.
Right.
Well, you know what? He didn't get excited on the sideline.
Oh, come on.
Who cares? As long
I
as you
understand.
make the right. And, you know, and I think the other thing that you've seen a lot of is people questioning strategy and things like that. And that's understandable.
Some of that's legit.
That's a great thing. I mean, that means people are paying attention.
But doesn't every coaching staff make at least 2 mistakes a game? I guarantee you.
Well, it's hard not to when you think of you got probably all in maybe about 200 and some opportunities to make a mistake. And let's not forget, they're paying the guys on the other side too.
Oh, absolutely.
To make their team look good, you know.
Was the offensive line play last year, to me, in all the years I've been watching football, now you played the game, to me, from the first 8 weeks to the last 8 weeks, Mike Tice, to me, I thought was the star of the show last year. I mean, because you could talk about March, you could talk about Lovie. If you didn't protect Cutler, you were dead. And I think he got the job done. It was remarkable what happened.
Well, all things considered, I mean, you look at, putting a guy like Jamarcus Webb, a rookie, 7th round pick in the start, and the mixing and matching that they had to do to try to figure out exactly what they had, because the offensive line was very unestablished. I mean, it's when you look at the guys who were playing, you're like, really, who's that? And trying to figure out where to put Chris Williams, where you might get the best out of him. So there were a lot of considerations going, and you're right. And I think one of the things that happened with Mike Tice is that the epiphany that Mike Martz had about midway through the season.
With Lovie's help, which was a great coaching decision.
I think it was a lot of.
Well, they had to buy.
Right, and then that's when they switched around and started running the ball more. And it just makes sense. I mean, you got a quality running back in Matt Forte. You brought Chester Taylor in. Why? Because of what he can do on the football field as well, running the football. And you got an offensive line. The best thing, the easiest thing to do with a young offensive line is to teach them the run block. Because that's something that, as an offensive lineman, you're almost bred to do that.
Absolutely.
And it gives you the confidence then to go into the passing game. They were trying to do a lot of fancy stuff passing the football. And those guys, got a long way to go to develop as a pass blocking offensive line. And you can't do that. That's like putting red meat in front of a shark.
Absolutely.
To have those guys go out there and try to do all of that right away. So you went back, they reestablished the run game, got that going, and then all of a sudden the short passing game comes along. You stop the deep drops, where Jay's back there, 8-10 yards and getting killed, and then all of a sudden things start to work. Now the offense at least has an opportunity to grow a little bit.
Exactly. We're at Carmichael's 1000 West Monroe. By the way, I want to thank a lot of people that are out here today. BB's out here. And you got a couple of your buddies here today, our buddies.
From Harvard, yep.
We went to this Harvard thing at this Harvard club the other night. and I got to be honest, it renewed my fervor that actually educated people can get things done. Because we've had a lot of issues lately, as you know, where there's been educational people on both sides that just can't get anything done. I had a good time there, and it was great to see Marv Levy stop in.
Because Marv went to Harvard, of course, for graduate school,
right.
Co-college undergrad. He's a South Side guy. Marv still lives here in Chicago, and it was great to see him. It really was, and he had some great insights in terms of having been a head coach and a Hall of Fame coach in the National Football League. It was great to see him there.
It was.
It was a chance to have a conversation with him as well.
Guy's been in the Super Bowl 4 times. Didn't win one, but I'll take 4 Super Bowls.
4 consecutive Super Bowls, pretty damn good.
Let's talk about the White Sox real quick with my buddy Dan Jiggers. By the way, the score is going to be celebrating 20 years. We've been asked at least to do an interview, so we'll see what's going to transpire for the year. If they call, Jigs. If they don't, they don't. And that's just the way life is. Some people want to move on. Some people, you know what? Some people want to make money. Anyway, let's talk about the Sox. Adam Dunn. Tomei hitting his 600 the other day. He had 601 as of this taping. I got to tell you, to me, that was a bad public relations move. They waited for Seaver to win 300. They put him on the Sox. Tomei, they give him a plaque. They let him go after 4 years, and then they go by committee last year, which sucked. And then it's almost like Ozzy's been trying to prove a point with Dunn to bat him 4th, 5th, or 6th all year long. Well, and I'm wondering why.
You know what? Let's look at it from 2 perspectives. First of all, Kenny Williams and the acquisition of Adam Dunn. Everybody had been screaming for was a bat from the left-hand side. Hey, we got to get a lefty in.
But you did have one in Tomei.
Right, you did.
Yeah.
Number one, that should not have happened. I think if you ask Kenny now, you ask Jerry,
if they're honest,
right? They'll say no.
And Ozzy better say yes, and he was the guy.
Yeah, exactly. But Tomei, for all intents and purposes, looked like that guy. Now, for whatever, Dunn, but for whatever reason, he hasn't hit the ball this year like he has in the past. Now, is it an aberration or is he done? Is Dunn done? That's the question that everybody over the South Side's asking.
I trade Dunn for Zambrano. I trade one problem for the other.
It'd be great.
Go to the National League. People are going to go, well, Dunn sucks. Well, so does Zambrano.
Zambrano comes over, gets with his fellows Venezuelan Ozzy. They talk all the time anyway. Maybe it gets him.
Wives are best friends.
He's a good pitcher, Mike. But the problem is that what happens upstairs sometimes. But it's perfect. You put him with Ozzy, I guarantee. And Don Cooper. You think Don can get some of the things worked out?
I tried to tell you, Jigs, about you athletes. You got to be grounded. You got to be grounded. I mean, the Zambrano, you can't fly off the handle every time something little happens.
Hold on, let me pull you down.
I'm just saying. So you know what? I'll tell you. It's been an interesting season. As of this taping, they're in the hunt. So we'll see what happens.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes, my friend.
This crossed my mind as I was driving
we're just commiserating?
If we go another couple of weeks and they're 3 games out, and let's say they decide to make a move,
right?
What would you think about all of that?
I would trade Dunn for Zambrano then.
And you wouldn't come back.
Imagine?
And you wouldn't come back and say, well, you know what? This was just like what happened, about 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.